special guest today on Absolutely Famous as one of New Zealand's most successful sportsmen. He won 5 consecutive world rowing titles, an Olympic gold medal. He then successfully transformed into a grinder for the Team Emirates New Zealand yachting squad and won 2 successive America's Cup. Joe Sullivan, welcome mate, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Yeah, well, cheers man. Yeah, it's good to be here.
Have you had a bit of time to sit down and think about, I didn't do too bad actually in sport?
Yeah, I guess over the last month I've had a bit of forced reflection on what I've actually achieved and what my goals and priorities are again. So yeah, it's been quite cool and lots of people keep kind of reiterating it to me that I've done some pretty cool things in my time, and yeah, I'm pretty grateful that I've had that opportunity as well.
Yeah, of course, the big news for me is you missed out on selection for the America's Cup this time. The trials are in December, which is a big surprise to me. Was it a shock to you when you missed out, or how did that work out?
It wasn't a massive shock, I guess. I tried to put myself in the right position to get into the team, but at the end of the day, it wasn't quite enough, and had to really weigh up how much I really wanted it as well. I think having moved to Tauranga, I probably didn't have the passion that I once had for the Cup, and my focus was probably more on my family, so getting out there on my own and training was a bit more difficult, and probably wasn't pushing myself as hard as I probably should have. But yeah, it was a bit disappointing. I was kind of set on doing it. It would have been a cool opportunity again, but that's the life of a sports person, I guess. You don't always make it, and you've really got to take account to what you want more in life. And I think for me at the moment, with my kids being so young, I think I'd rather be spending a lot more time with them at this point in life, and who knows what happens in the future. But yeah, for now, that's my priority.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all, Joe. So what did you have to go through? What did the trial include? I mean, I saw a video of the last time when you were trialling out for the previous side, the previous crew, and it was just, God, it would have killed me for sure what you had to do. What did you have to do this time? Similar?
So we had 2 separate days of trialling, and then it was a series of sprints and repeats, and then another day of just endurance grinding, so just flat out for an extended period of time. So I don't know if I can actually say the proper details, whether it's copyrighted or not, but yeah, it was kind of testing all variations from top end peak sprints to complete endurance. So yeah, it was pretty tough on the old body, and I'm definitely feeling it as I'm getting older. My body's not quite doing what I used to think it could. So, but it still does pretty well. I'm pretty proud of what I can achieve still at this time in my life. So, yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. And of course, the America's Cup, the grinding position, it changed. You were a cycler in the first one, then a traditional grinder in the second. Now they've gone back to cycling. Is that?
Yeah. So the team's back on the bikes now, and I guess that was probably quite a hard transition going from being so upper body focused, and then kind of given around 6 to 8 months to completely change our body shape again and get our legs moving again. And I hadn't been on a bike for like 3 years, so yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system. But yeah, I've done some bike races around the South Island, and that was a lot of fun. I had good fun with Nathan and James Howard and Carl Meyer. So yeah, stuff like that was really enjoyable and a good challenge.
Yeah, for sure. So do you have any other plans on the sporting horizon? I know when doors shut, other ones open.
At the moment, nothing, and that's sort of thing for me. I kind of just take it as it comes. There's been chats about maybe doing God Zone, so might have to find ourselves some sponsors and try not to get too fat before I start training for that one.
Yeah. And the God Zone, of course, is a massive adventure race in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's huge. I think it's a little bit probably out of my depth, but I don't think that's ever really stopped me. I think I'd just have to go and give it a go and see if I could finish it, and then go from there.
exactly. I followed Richie McCaw when he first did it, the ex-All Black captain, and he said the same as you. He thought he was way out of his comfort zone too, but he managed to switch on and do what he had to do.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can put yourself through and into, and what your body can achieve and get you out of.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know better than anyone about that. So
yeah.
You've been involved in elite sport pretty much all your adult life, haven't you? And is it a big change for you now, not to have something on the immediate horizon?
It's not too bad. Like, I guess between all the America's Cup campaigns, there's been a bit of downtime. So there's been a few years where I've not really done much, and just kept to basic fitness. But yeah, it's a bit strange not having a challenge on the horizon, I guess. But at the same time, I'm not too stressed about that at the moment. It's not a bad place to be. Got a few ideas ticking through my head about maybe some charity events that I could do for fundraising, or yeah, just things like that. I kind of want to give back more if I can and do something stupid.
Yeah.
Set up a proper challenge and see if I could achieve it. But yeah, try to raise some good money for something. But yeah, at the moment it's all up in the air.
Yeah, of course, you're doing some great work with Norm Wilson's charity in Blenheim. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a cool foundation to be part of it. So that's the Inspire Foundation, which is pretty much run by a group of local Marlborough people. It's all in the aim of raising funds for young people between the age of, I think, between 15 and 23, whether it be sport, academic, or arts, or music, or anything like that. So yeah, pretty much any kid that's achieving at a high level, they're willing to sponsor and give them funding for. So we go down and have dinners with all the sponsors and the families that donate money to the trust, and it's a really good time. And the inductions for the kids, they get to kind of explain what they're doing with the money and what it's going to help them with and what their goals are. And I think that's really important for them to be up on stage and thanking the people that are helping them out. And it sets them up really well for networking, and I guess it gives them a plan of how to approach that kind of side of the sport to further yourself. So it's got a whole element of different levels, from communicating and speaking in front of crowds, as well as getting the money and then supplying the goods when you go and compete or perform. So it's really cool, and I love being a part of it. Some bloody talented kids out there, and every time I go down, I almost feel more motivated to do something with the ambition and the drive that these kids have. It really puts life into perspective.
Well, you know, as well as you're speaking from experience, because when you were a youngster, of course, first coming into the New Zealand setup as a junior, the community got right behind you and did similar things for you that you were giving back now. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's just such a cool thing when you're coming from a small area. For me, Marlborough's been fantastic, and I know there's lots of places around New Zealand and probably in Australia as well that get behind their youth when they're trying to achieve big things, and it's such an important thing to do and help those people out when you can. So to be able to give back is really cool for me.
Yeah, you mentioned Australia. I live there now, of course, so it's close to my heart, and it's very, very similar here. I mean, I know when I lived in New Zealand, I thought, Aussies, they're big, brash, and everything's given to them, but it's totally not. It's exactly the same as it is in New Zealand, because a lot of Aussies come from small towns, and they started just like you did, with help from the community and their own motivation.
Yeah, I think it's probably the same all around the world. If you're not from a wealthy family, it's always about fundraising and getting that community support to succeed in anything you're going to do. So yeah, it's really cool when communities get behind someone and give them that help.
Joe, of all your sporting successes, is there two or three events that really stand out for you as the ones that were really special?
I guess like they've all got a pretty deep kind of appreciation behind every one of them, because kind of work so hard to get to each goal when you get there. But I remember the World Champs in New Zealand was pretty awesome. Just having that local support and having a lot of my friends and family around. Because when you go overseas and compete at World Champs, it's pretty limited on the people that can afford to come over and support and be there. So to be able to compete in New Zealand was awesome. Can never put the Olympics to the side. That was the pinnacle of my sporting career back then. It was everything I put my hopes and dreams into, and I worked so bloody hard for it. So that was a pretty epic one to finish off. And then I'd probably almost say Bermuda with the America's Cup was a pretty special one. Like the team having lost the cup in 2003 and trying to get it back so many times and not quite making it and getting so close, and there was that kind of ghost sitting over the team, and everyone was like, we get so close every time but we don't quite crack it. And then to be able to crack it against all odds and bring it back to New Zealand, that was a pretty special moment, because love it or hate it, when the America's Cup's racing, you can't help but get behind it and feel a bit of pride with it all. I think Peter Blake put that all into us back in the day with the Red Sox and things like that, and just being a young kid watching that, yeah, it was pretty special to be able to bring the oldest sporting trophy back to New Zealand.
Yeah, and it was probably very relevant to Kiwis too, because, you know, most coastal towns around New Zealand, the kids go sailing, and, you know, water's a big, like you growing up in Picton, obviously the water sports was a big thing.
Yeah, you can't really avoid it in New Zealand, whether you're inland in a lake or whether you're like, yeah, water is just a massive part of being a Kiwi, and probably the same as being an Aussie, whether it be a river, a waterhole, or a lake, or an ocean. It's part of our lives, and we're all connected to it.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, you're working full time now as a fireman. You have been for several years, and you're enjoying that job. That'll have its major challenges as well.
Yeah, it definitely has its ups and downs. Some days can be horrible, but at the end of the day, most of the time, if we turn up to an incident, we're trying to do our best and make it better. So it can be quite rewarding when things go well. I feel a lot of pride from doing that job. It's not the highest paying job ever, but I just kind of, I get a lot of, I don't know, it just makes you feel good at the end of the day when you can help and be supportive of a community.
Yeah, I'm lucky enough to have a job like that myself as a nurse, and same sort of thing for me. And it's very much like most things, I suppose. It's a lot of teamwork, especially in firefighting. I mean, it's a pretty precarious job at times.
Yeah, shit, yeah. You're working with different people every day, and it can be your crew and a volunteer crew, and you got to work with lots of different people to achieve hopefully the best results. So it's always about keeping sharp and looking after each other as well.
Oh yeah, I noticed on Facebook the Picton boys are still, your old teammates are still out there doing their thing on the water in the rowboats.
Yeah. They're slowly trying to drag me back in, and I'm a bit reluctant to get back in a boat at the moment, but who knows if we can find a good Masters regatta, or I'm pretty keen to do the Henley regatta one day, so might have to get back on the erg and see if I can be fit enough to make a crew go over there. It'd be quite fun.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. I'm sure you could handle any challenge you take on. Joe, thanks for talking to us, mate, and all the best for the new year for you, Jordan, and the kids. And we'll look forward to you. I'm sure you'll come up with something to challenge yourself with soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what happens. Cheers, John. Thanks
Cheers,
very much.
mate. Thanks, Joe.